We're in week 3, Monday. Monday, you're looking at the formula for area of a triangle. And the formula is area equals 1/2 base times height. So you're taking half the base and multiplying it by the height. And things that you need to know about triangles is that the height goes from the base to the top of the triangle. If you're looking at a slanted line, so if I have a triangle that looks like this, right here, this is a slanted line. This is not a straight line that goes from the base to the top of the triangle. It's a slanted line that goes from the base to the top of the triangle. So you don't count that as the height. The height would be here, from the base to the top of the triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, you have to find half the base and multiply it by the height. And that formula comes from the fact that if you have a square, the formula for area of a square is base times height. Well, a triangle can be made by cutting a square in half diagonally. So look, now I have 2 triangles. So if I want to find the area of one of these triangles, I basically would find my base times my height and divide it by 2, which is the same as finding half of the base times the height. So that's just a quick little explanation, and hopefully we'll get more into it later. So under Monday, the first activity says the area of a triangle is 32 square inches. The height of the triangle is 8 inches. What is the length of the base? Okay, we learned about solving equations back in last 9 weeks. So what you would do, and this is what the paper tells you to do too, or the activity up above, it tells you to substitute the values that you know for the variables. Okay, so once again, formula for a triangle is area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So I'll put those in there just to know that we're multiplying. So what we know from number 1 is that the area is 32 square inches. This 1/2 is a constant. That means it's going to stay the same. It does not change. Then we're going to multiply that by the base, because we don't know what the base is. That's what we're looking for. And then we multiply that by height of 8. So in the problem, they tell us that the height is 8. They don't tell us what the base is. That's what we're looking for. And then the 1/2 is always 1/2. So now we have to figure out how to put all these together. Okay, now the thing that you have to remember is that multiplication is commutative. So I can multiply in any order that I want to. So here we normally would do 1/2 times b. Well, we don't know what b is. B is not a number. So I can skip the b and multiply my 1/2 times 8, okay? So all I'm doing is I'm rearranging this so that I can multiply these numbers together. And that's okay because once again, multiplication is commutative. I can multiply in any order. All right, so I'm gonna do 1/2 times 8. And if I multiply by 8, I have to put it over 1. 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 1 is 2. Well, this becomes a division problem. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, basically half of 8 is 4. That's what this is saying. So now I'm going to rewrite what I have. 32 is equal to, instead of having 1/2 times 8, I have simplified that into the number 4. And now I have 4 times b. Okay, so now this looks like a problem that we know how to solve. If I have a combination of multiplication with a variable, to figure out what this variable is, I have to undo this. So I do the opposite. Right now, I'm multiplying by 4. To get rid of this 4, I'm going to divide by 4. Now also, you can look at this point and you can realize, okay, what number times 4 is 32? And you can figure this out already by yourself. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 on this side gives you 1. And it gives you 1 times b. Well, 1 times b is just 1b. And then 32 divided by 4 is 8. So 1b is equal to 8, or our base is equal to 8. So if we take our base and we multiply that, here I'll put it back into the problem. So my original problem is area equals 1/2 times base times height. And I know that my area is 32. This 1/2 is always 1/2. I now know that my base is 8. And I know that my height is 8. Okay? So if I solve this going left to right, or in any order, because multiplication is commutative, I should get 32. All right, so I'll start here. 1/2 times 8. Half of 8, we already found out, was 4. Okay, so now we do 4 times 8. Well, what's 4 times 8? It's 32. So 32 is equal to 32. Since those are equal, I know that my answer of 8 as the base is correct. Because when I plugged it into the formula, I got that whatever's the area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. They're equal. All right, so number 2 on here says a scale model of a street sign in the shape of a triangle is in the shape of a triangle. The base is 5.5 centimeters and the height is 7 2/10 centimeters. What is the area of the street sign? Okay, so all we're doing is we're plugging in values. All right, so going back, we know area is equal to 1/2 base times height. All right, where I lost my place. All right, so the base is 5 5/10. And the height is 7 2/10. And we don't know what the area is. We're trying to find the area. Now, this looks confusing when we have a combination of fraction and decimal. Okay, you guys learned that you can easily change your fractions to decimals, or you can change your decimals to fractions. Now, instead of having 1/2, I can just replace this as 5/10. So I'm going to do 5/10 times 5 5/10 times 7 2/10, and that'll give me my area. Okay, that's all I have to do. So off on the side, I'm going to do 5 5/10 times 5/10, and that takes care of these two right here. I'm going to do that first. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 again, plus 2 gives me 27. And I need to move my decimal in twice. So now this is 2 7/75 times 7 2/10. That's what I have next. So then 2 7/75 times 7 2/10. Okay, I'll move my decimal out now because I didn't do that before. 1 2 1. That's a total of 3 times. Now I'm going to multiply. 2 times 5, that's 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Add my 0. 7 times 5, 35. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 3 gives me 52. 7 times 2 is 14, and 14 plus 5, that's 19. And I'm going to add 0, that's 10, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 9, and that's 1. And I need to move my decimal in 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All right, so my final answer is that my area is equal to 19 and 8/10 centimeters squared. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and I'm going to do the other two in a different video, so this one's not too long.